Hello, I have my sticky note of favorite reads of March. It was a good month. I think I read 2 audiobooks, which is a lot for me, and both of them were nonfiction, which is also a lot for me. But I really enjoyed that. And then most of them were digital, and then I did knock out a couple of my physical books that I was hoping to get to. So to start, Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen. This was my 3rd time reading it, and once again, personally, 5 stars. I've gotten a little bit older as I've read it, so I feel like my perspectives and opinions have shifted a little bit. I guess a big one, and this is what we talked about in the book club for a really long time, it was Elizabeth's parents, and how whenever you're younger, typically you kind of villainize Mrs. Bennet and think Mr. Bennet is just a funny father, and then as you get older you're like, maybe he's not a good father and he shouldn't be acting like that because his daughters and his wife are so dependent on him, and you can sympathize with Mrs. Bennet a little bit better. Obviously, she's ridiculous. That's the fun part. But yeah, that was something we ended up talking a lot about at the book club meeting. And yeah, I did annotate it. Here's my colors. There you go. Yeah, I really like annotating this stuff, and I don't know, I'm sure I'll read it again maybe in like a year or 2 and find a million other things that I just need to sit down and think about, and yeah, I love it. And then I did read 2 nonfictions, which is something I'm trying out and I have enjoyed. Just have to find the right ones, you know. So the first one was Arrangements in Blue, Notes on Loving and Living Alone by Amy Key. I don't have my phone with me, so I hope that's right. It's a memoir, and she's going through different parts of her life, and the main idea and topic is her long-standing singleness, aloneness. So it's mostly that, and how she's gotten older and how that's changed, how she views herself, views people around her, the world, and it goes along with Joni Mitchell's album. What is that album? Is it Blue? I should know because I started listening to it afterward, and oh my goodness. Little Green, Joni Mitchell. Hey, be prepared with a tissue. It'll get you. Especially if you read the 1 chapter in the book. But it was really good. It did make me cry a little bit whenever she was talking about this friend of hers, and kind of like non-reciprocal love, but also love and friendship. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I love those kinds of books where it's an older woman and it's just, as a younger woman, it's a bit of a, it's just kind of comforting. Like Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. When I read that, I was like, yep, needed that. And then the other nonfiction I read, I did originally do the audiobook, and then I loved it so much and I wanted to see all the figures and everything. So I bought the physical copy, and that is Dinosaurs at the Dinner Party by Edward Dolnick. It is how an eccentric group of Victorians discovered prehistoric creatures and accidentally upended the world. And yeah, the audiobook was great, whatever version was available at the library, and I had a really good time because I am quite fond of history, and I do every evening I watch a bit of Time Team. If anyone's, hey, where's my Time Team dorks out there, you know? Every evening I have to watch an episode of like British archaeologists in the 90s digging around in some dirt. It's the time of my life, personally. So this was right up my alley. But he kind of just talks about the discovery of dinosaurs by Victorians. A bit of a wacky cast, and it's stuff that I never knew, and I guess I just never really thought to know. But yeah, he makes it really funny and interesting, so it's not just dry, bland history. Yeah, so it's just a bunch of people that were involved, bigger names, smaller names, and just the weirdness that went on whenever they were trying to figure out, like, what does this mean for Christianity at the time? You know, where are humans in the grand scheme of things? How do we deal with this with like romanticism and stuff? So I really enjoyed it. And then I finally finished, it's up here, I didn't want to grab it because it's at the bottom of the stack, but I finally finished Eclipse of the Crown by A.K. Caggiano. It was part of the trilogy, the main trilogy of the Villains and Virtues series. Honestly, if you saw my March TBR video, I said in there I had originally started reading that 2 years ago, so I kind of went back into this book and I was a little confused and I didn't know what was going on, but I still enjoyed it, and it was a good ending and I still had fun. So that's kind of like an honorable mention. Cat, stop. And then to go right along with that, I'm trying to read, I feel like I'm just gonna read all of her books because they're kind of right up my alley, but Bound to Fall is in the same world. I think it's set like maybe a few months after, different characters, but it follows Celeste and Reeve, there he is, and she is Nox touched, if you know what that means from this world. Basically, she has kind of like bad, dark magic in her, but she doesn't want to, so like she accidentally does bad stuff, and then she has like a lot of guilt and is a recluse pretty much. Not that. And then Sir Reeve, he is a holy knight of Valcourt, and he's a himbo, you know. He's got a pretty face and he means well, but sometimes he does stupid stuff, but we love him for it. And because of that, I think he does have a bit of like he's got some insecurities because of that, understandably. And basically they end up living together because she's living in his what's the word, his temple thingy that has been desecrated, that was the word, and they have to work together to get rid of this evil that is hurting the town and everyone there. And it was fun. It was very cute. This author has the kind of like quirky fantasy thing really going for her, and it's always a pleasure. Similarly, kind of, this is part of a trilogy. It is Seduction of a Psychopomp. I don't remember the author, but basically there's really not any plot. It's just kind of cute. The other two books before it, it's the third in a trilogy, I feel like they had a bit more conflict in them, like outer conflict. There was stuff going on, they were kind of fighting something. But this one was very inner conflict, kind of not really any conflict. The main guy is Grim, or I think his real name is like Victor, and he is a Grim Reaper. So he assists people into the afterlife, and he is an arranged marriage. Okay, it's an arranged marriage thing between him, the Grim Reaper, and this fairy, which I think her name was also Celeste, so really weird that I had two main girls named Celeste in the same month, but hey, it's cute. And she marries him. Basically, she starts off the story very sick, like she's dying, they can't really figure out anything, she's been sick for a really long time. She marries him, she gets some of his magic from the marriage, and so she can start healing and recovering. He kind of steals her away from her family, and they stay in this kind of, I kind of pictured it as a bit of a fortress in this kind of hilly mountainside winter place. And she recovers and she tries to awkwardly seduce him. It's just very sweet. I mean, I think in the thing it's like something about like erotic hand holding, so hey, it was just really fun. But yeah, no outer conflict really. I thought there was going to be some, but that didn't really turn into anything, so it was super easy, light read. And then we have Lord Blackwell's Promise. I don't remember the author, I should have written that down. But it is the last book in a series, a 5-book series, I think. And Lord Blackwell, he appeared in the previous book very briefly, and he was kind of like the antagonist, like, oh, that dude sucks. And he's kind of shown as the bad guy, he does bad things, but he is dying, he doesn't have much longer to live, and he wants to kind of make amends with the family that he destroyed. So he marries their daughter, so she can, her and her family can have a home, and then they don't have to work anymore. And I won't spoil anything, but they're very fun to watch. It takes a while for them to really come to an understanding because there's a lot of denial, but even just their friendship growing was really enjoyable and very sweet. And I do kind of enjoy when an author, you start the book, the main guy, he's not a nice guy, and then by the end of the book, honestly by like a third of the way into the book, you're like, oh, this guy's kind of cool, I like him. But yeah, it was very sweet. I liked the series, I'm glad I finished it. All of the books were enjoyable for different reasons, and yeah, I'm just a cute little Regency romance. And then I do want to do a couple of honorable mentions. These are, I am admittedly picky when it comes to like doing star ratings and stuff, because, you know, like there's, how do you even do it? So these are, they were enjoyable to me. Do I think everyone would like them? No. Were there flaws? Totally. But I was okay with those, and there were like a couple of standout things in the books that kind of erased those flaws a little bit, put a little filter over them. So the first one is part of a series. I think it's an unfinished series. Wild Scottish Rose by Trisha O'Malley. The whole series is set in a small town in Scotland, and there are Kelpies involved, so I thought that was fun. And there's, in every book, there is a main woman, and they become part of this knight's order to protect a stone that's on an island protected by Kelpies. But the Kelpies are hurting the town, and yeah, look it up if you're interested. I think it's fun. It's not perfect. Some of the I'm kind of picky when it comes to like romance stuff, so I'm not the right person to talk about it. Some of it isn't my thing, but I like the fantasy aspects, and I like that it's in Scotland and all that. The main woman, she's a gardener, like a garden fairy kind of, like a hedge witch type thing. So she has a bunch of hedgehogs in her garden, and one of them, I think it's Eugene, and he's my guy. He's he's hilarious. Really liked him. Added just the perfect amount of cuteness and quirkiness that the story needed. And then stop. And then the other, not animal sidekick, fairy sidekick type thing was a gnome, and his name was Norman with the G. Don't forget the G. The G is silent. And he was just a funny guy. I think he was described as a gnome, but like in biker attire, and I just liked his little grumpy butt. He was a pleasure. So purely an honorable mention just because of the hedgehog and the gnome. And then the other honorable mention, last one, is Mr. Darcy's Enchantment. It was on Kindle Unlimited. I needed a Pride and Prejudice retelling variation for my book club, so I chose that because it seemed interesting enough. And it was kind of young, like it read a bit young, which is okay, but I mostly am talking about it just because I liked the fairies in it, and come on guys, we all love fairies. But that's why it is mentioned, because of the fairy aspect. I thought it was pretty interesting. The book was pretty long, and it was kind of like, I felt like we could have gotten to the point a little bit better. They do spend a lot of time in fairy, and they go through like fairy rings, and there are I think that's how you say it, and Mr. Darcy is an elemental mage, and Lizzie has magic, but in this world, women, they're not allowed to do that. They will get bound where they can't use the magic, and it kind of addles their mind, and they're not themselves afterwards. So there is a bit of like some misogyny, sexism type stuff in there, which was interesting enough, but it really wasn't as big a part of the story as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, honorable mention because Mr. Darcy, Elizabeth Bennet, and fairies. Hey, what more could you want? So those were my March favorites and honorable mentions. It's a pretty good reading month for me. I try to read different genres. Obviously, I have favorites, and it's like when you have a favorite food and then you eat it a bunch of times in a row, and then like after so many times of eating it, you hate it. That's kind of what I do with genres, which isn't good, but I'm trying to fix that. So we'll see what happens in April. So I'll see you next time. I think that squirrel is trying to like threaten that crow. It's really weird.